But what the engineers of Photoshop did in Photoshop CS5 is make it much simpler to do complex selections. So let's create a complex selection. And usually what I do is I select my whole image, Command A, and then I would take my my quick selection tool here and press the Alt key and say I don't want the sky, I just want the people. Okay? So very quickly select my my object here. And then I can go back in and select a little bit more of it here, and here the code is okay. Let's take the code here. Just make sure that the whole code of this guy is here as well. So basically what I'm doing, I'm painting the selection. And as all of you know, of course, this selection is hard. It doesn't know where it should be soft. So what I do next is I've selected everything. I can click on the selection. Let's say Alt and click, OK, and that OK, and click on Refine Edge. And in the new Refine Edge window, we have many new functions that allow us to make this type of work much easier. For example, I can say, show me that on a black overlay, okay? Or show me on the layer. This is actually what I want the image to be on. But let's do it on black to see what's actually happening in these areas of hair, okay? So let's zoom in a little bit from here and see and look at this problem here. Okay, I want to be able to put that on a black background. Not easy. But what I want to do is turn this edge detection on. And by turning on edge detection, what Photoshop will do, it will look at all of the edges and start smoothing them. And then I can change the radius of that edge detection. And as I move the radius up, you will see the selection becoming better. Okay, let's move it up. Now, in this afternoon's session, I will show you maybe on even a more complex selection. But this is already very good. So let's go here and smooth it a little bit, make it a little bit like this, and smooth it. We can shift the edge in and out, like something like that. And then, this is really cool. I can tell Photoshop to decontaminate the colors. What does that mean? Many times we have pictures taken on a green background or a blue background, or in this case, in a white background, and we want to take out that color. So all we need to do now is simply tell Photoshop to decontaminate the color, and it will work an even better selection. We will see it coming. Let's turn the decontamination up a little bit, and you can see that it removed even more of the white halo around that selection. Wow. Yeah. And you're a photographer as well, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. So, I mean, you know the pain. So, and then I can create a new layer with that layer mask and say, okay, do that, and this is the type of result we get from that image.
Oh, wow.
So, amazing. With a brush. Let's create a brush. So, I'm here on my painting layer here, and I will just take my brush tool, and you will also see that I have a new little widget up here that actually allows me to see how the brush actually behaves on my Wacom tablet here. Okay, and then I can choose the color. Let's just click on here on the color. Oh, that's also new in CS5. CS5 will now show you the color that you selected and the color that's inside of the color bucket. Okay, pretty cool as well. All right. And then on the canvas itself, I have my bristles, and I can start painting. Okay, something like this. All right. Very natural looking brush strokes. But it gets better, because in Photoshop CS5 we introduced a new mixer brush tool. And with the mixer brush, what I can do, and let's make this brush a little bit bigger here. Let's select another one, maybe out of this one. Okay, something like that. And what we can do is then go in here, and I will show you some of the options. I can choose to actually pick up the color, okay, load the brush after each stroke. I can also clean the brush after each stroke, and then I can also choose from different types of wetness of the brush. So let's say I want heavy mix of color, and then the wetness, the load, perfect, and I want to sample all of my layers. Okay, so let's go in here and start painting on here, and you'll see that I can now really have a wet brush and paint over the color itself. It behaves exactly like watercolor. Okay? And the really cool stuff I can do with this is, for example, if I work on a picture like this one, new shortcut as well, Control-Alt to make the brush smaller and bigger on the screen, and I can also change the hardness, and like this, and then I will start painting on here, and for example, I will pick up the colors, and these colors will actually mix on the canvas itself. And this allows me to create very, very quickly a watercolor version of that same photograph. Let me just show you one I did earlier, just fooling around with a picture of me. Let's see here. Let's take this Photoshop document. Okay. All right. So this is a photograph, and I can tell you that all I did was simply to, and let's here inside of the group, simply add. I will take the photo away. Okay. This is what I painted. Okay. This is only what I painted. Okay. It's pretty cool.
So we don't actually paint engine.
Yeah, paint engine. It's great. It's really great to be able to do these, let's say, more natural-looking type of things. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to an insane feature that I completely.
Have you ever faced the problem that you have to cut things out?
Yes.
Just to remove things?
Yeah, remove it. I want to remove this guy from my background. Okay, so what would I do? I will use a new tool in Photoshop CS5 that I'm using the lasso tool with. Okay, so I will the new lasso tool in Photoshop CS5, and I will make a very rough selection around my model here. Okay, and then I said I don't want him there. So what do? I will say delete.
Not very good. Yeah, you knew that. Now the problem is not to remove things, but to just fill it with some other content.
Oh, you want
in there?
Oh, you want like I want to naturally remove them. Okay. So, all right, let's do that. So I'm going to press Shift Delete instead, and what we have here now, we can choose from various types of fill. For example, the colors that we've always had, but now I can fill with content aware. And let's do that for a second and see what happens. Say, okay. Photoshop has to think a little bit because Photoshop goes around the image and looks, what?